Canon gives us their most hot plastic Mo pick. Yeah, I made that up. Motion picture? Yeah. It's America 3000 on Stinker Madness.
What's that smell?
I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty as fuck. Thirsty as fuck.
Hey, look at these!
Thrill me.
If you come back in here, I'm gonna hit you with so many rights, you're gonna beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Hey, look at these!
It stinks.
Hello, welcome to Stinker Madness, the podcast about bad movies for bad movie lovers by bad movie lovers. I'm your host, Justin. With me, as always, Sam and Jackie. Hello, Sam and Jackie. Jackie, let's start with you. How's being cold neggy? What's the opposite of cold neggy? Anybody?
Hot plastic.
Hot plastic.
Okay, well, how's hot plastic for you?
Tubular.
Would that be tubs in America 3000 language?
I think it's just hot plastic.
Okay, well, they got to have more ways to say that's awesome than hot plastic.
Well, there's effing hot.
Effing hot.
And just hot. So I think there's hot plastic, and effing hot.
And is hot... Let's hello, Sam, by the way.
Hi.
Let's dive into the language of America 3000 first. It seems to me that cold is bad.
Yeah.
But is cold bad because it's associated with death, which we find out later in the film towards the end where somebody dies and he's gone cold.
They did it at the beginning too.
Okay, so cold is a tie-in. Why it's bad is because you are mortal and you die.
You die.
So is hot the opposite of death? Like you're full of life, like puzzow.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, all right. What else do we got? Any other entomology that we want to discuss? Why plastic?
Because nothing's made of plastic.
So it's rare?
Yeah.
Okay. Jackie, you good with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was trying to sit here and think about it, and I was just like, I don't really know.
Not a linguistic doctor, Jackie.
Well, how would they even know about plastic?
That's a good point.
Because, they don't have any.
Mm-hmm.
There's some
and
things.
How would they know it was hot? Why would it be hot?
Well, because it's the opposite of death. If it's rare, it's a metaphor. It's not because the plastic is hot. It's because this rare thing is awesome.
Yeah. Plastic is rare. Hot is good. Cold is bad. Wagos is crazy.
Neggy is anything in the negative.
Yes.
There's no posy, which is kind of weird.
No.
You got weps.
Uh-huh.
Shelts.
Yep. Eats.
Toys.
Well, those are classes of people. Those aren't necessarily linguistic replacements for our modern talk.
Yeah, I think that's it before it starts going
in. Scan is a really popular. Cold scan, full scan something. Totally understand it.
Yeah,
it'd be a full scan.
Looking at something, scanning it. Full scan would be like, pay attention, dipshit.
And you can scan somebody. So you're showing them, like, I'll give you a scan of this. Or, yeah, showing or telling. It's just a way of communicating.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the strangest things about this film is the language. Like, it is a fairly deep, dumb 80s language that they've built for this thing.
Yeah, I think that, and this sort of just segues into my history of the film, is that this thing is Canon Group in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. Sort of.
It is.
I'll get into that later, but go ahead.
You have Glenn and Globus kind of let whoever do whatever, but up to this point, these post-apocalyptic movies are really cheap, and they're getting pretty popular. Mm-hmm. So they sort of put a guy on one and sent him down to Israel to just go make it. And so you get the sort of, where I'm saying canon in a nutshell, is you have these in-between art films in Israel that they're sort of funding with these other productions. They're like, just go down there. These guys are in between a production, and don't spend any time on it. Bring us back a post-apocalyptic movie, and you get David Edelbach, the writer-director, is able to sort of spit out a pretty articulate script in a very short amount of time, and then all of a sudden he's working with A-list Israeli film production crew versus B-list American.
Right.
And so this thing that should just be a complete disaster is one of the more articulate budget movies that you ever sort of run into.
Absolutely.
And you don't know why. And that's why, is because it's the sort of side effect of what Cannon Group really was.
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because LASIK made that Sasquatch looking dude.
The eye surgery people made...
I thought the costume designer's first name was LASIK.
Okay, what's your joke?
Well, that troll guy was pretty cool.
Total guy?
Troll!
Arg the Terrible?
Yeah.
Arg the Awful, sorry.
I think you phrased that really poorly, Jackie. Like, what? LASIK? I mean, okay, so ARG was awesome. Yes, is where you're going. That's the difference.
You know, I'm just having an off day. My jokes have fallen flat more than once today. I'm starting to think that today I might not have any mojo.
It's because last week you spent all your mojo on drinking and recording, and now that you're having to face the horrification of Monday, or you're out of gas.
She can't tell jokes and you can't talk. This is going to go great.
Hey, you know, that's that seems like every Stinker Madness episode. All right, so he writes America 3000, and then kind of where do things go?
As far as that, they went to Israel and they shot it and made it.
Right, but this David Edelbach?
Edelbach, yeah.
Edelbach.
It doesn't really do much after that. Like, this was just a guy that he wrote the story for Over the Top.
Yes, that's where I wanted you to go.
He wrote the script for Death Wish 2.
Uh-huh.
And he was probably uncredited in a lot of Canon productions, so he was just a guy that they trusted to go do this.
Right.
And it wasn't that they had trusted him to go do this so much as they already knew that the crew that was down there in Israel was going to do it with or without him.
Right.
Just fine.
Right.
But they sort of liked the ideas that he comes up with, so they sent the idea guy down to work with this proven group of filmmakers in Israel. And then imported some notable actors, B-listers.
Yeah, right.
To go to. So you have Laureen Landon who's now her second time on because she was in Maniac Cop.
Yeah.
She's the gal.
I think we've talked about her about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. And then Chuck Wagner, who was Automan.
Automan,
I don't think I've seen
You
that
guys
one.
haven't seen Automan?
No, I don't
He was
know.
like a robot. It was like on the heels of Tron, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was like a little pixely star thing that could turn into a car or a motorcycle.
Wow.
But he was also a dude.
Need to go to there.
And he's an AI. It's a cop.
I need this film in my life.
It's a series. It's Robot Cop.
Oh my God.
It's failed Robot Cop, the series, like try 3 or 4.
Yeah, I need this.
Yeah, I cannot believe you've never seen Automan.
Oh, this is the must do.
Why I know who Chuck Wagner is because of that.
I love America 3000 so much. I want to shut off this podcast and go watch Automan. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And the rest of the cast is filled out by other, canon rounders. Like William Wallace is Pete in Delta Force.
Mm-hmm, right.
That's why we know him. Even though I kind of think he might be Ryan Gosling.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he's Pete from Delta Force, and he shows up. He was in Avenging Force too. He just sort of shows up in canon movies as a guy who can deliver lines. So that's what this is like, they're like, oh crap, we can just spit out a PA movie if these are big right now. And then they just send down their trusted ones. And then like 2 months later, they get back one of the most competently made PA movies ever.
Right.
I'm totally convinced that the first Tiara that we see in the movie, the one that dies, that she was somehow related to Lisa Kubrick from Friends.
Lisa Kubrick.
Yeah, the inventor of the Kubrick's Cube.
Yes,
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Lisa Kudrow.
Kudrow, yeah.
Jeez
there
Louise.
we go. See? You were on the same page as me.
No,
I'm sure.
nobody's on the same page as you.
Oh, well, anyway, she looked just like her. I was kind of thinking, like, that could be her mom.
Yeah, kind of. Very
Probably not.
Somewhat Lisa Kudrow-y. What else you got, Sam? Anything?
Well, we got to talk about Tony Berg, the music. The
Oh,
music
my
that's
God.
so fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
and awesome as you mean a translation for, but in your future talk, awesome in America 3000 means super shitty music.
Not really.
It's really dumb music.
But,
it's so butt.
But at the same time, it's some sweet guitar playing. Yeah. And that's because Tony Berg was a session guitarist for notable acts such as Air Supply.
Right.
And he also was one of the session musicians for when they did Rocky Horror Picture Show. He was the guitarist, one of the guitarists for that.
Yeah, I can see it.
And he did the Muppet Show for a while as a session musician.
Right on. Yeah.
Then he goes on to become a record exec and signs such notable bands as like Black Rebel Motorcycle Club and At the Drive-In. Yeah, so he's actually very successful as an executive. But
yeah,
boy, he can dance around on those strings though.
When you need properly timed theme music, he's the guy to go to, at least in America 3000.
I thought that was because I've seen this so many times now, and it's just weird how like when I watch it, you watch it the first time, like what the fuck is going on with this movie? And as you watch it more, you're like, they did a really good job with something that should just be awful,
right?
And this time around, I'm just like, God, this music is fucking fantastic.
Oh, I'm just going. There is layers upon layers upon layers of this film, all while this really inappropriate music is playing over it, which is like one of the charming factors about it. Is because, and I'll skip the first scene, and we'll just deal with it right now. But like the very first thing you see in this post-apocalyptic world is that slavery is a huge component of it.
Oh, yeah.
And these people are being brought into a camp, basically a military camp, to be slaves. And there's just this sweet licks playing in the background, and you're like, slavery equals sweet guitar riffs? What?
They were a little more gentle than some of the other ones. So it's like, it's kind of bad, but listen to this guitar. Woo! A little sad for a second.
Wow.
I kind of thought that the Paradise song was very, very much captured the 80s music scene.
It's way 80s music.
And the part I almost forgot about this being a canon film in a nutshell is, while you're at it down there making this amazingly competent movie for no money, I really need you to fucking rake Reagan over the coals like the whole time.
Right, we'll get that. We'll get
by the way, our politics need to be forefronted all the way in this one.
Yeah. Oh man, this thing is fucking layered. I want to say everything I want to say at the end of this. I need to save it. The first thing I want to talk about in this is I want us to define the world that they live in, because I don't want to flush all this out as it's flushed out to us. Let's just address this now. The world got nuked. Yes. We find out later in the film that that it was basically a computer error. The nuclear holocaust started. That the American computer said that the Russians have launched missiles and retaliated when no missiles had actually been launched at all.
Sure.
And then the Russians retaliated, blowing up the whole world. But the Americans somehow claimed victory. I don't know.
Yeah, they do. If your missiles hit first, you fucking won the nuclear war.
That
seems like every one of these movies that deals with that topic, even Doctor Strangelove, and I think maybe that's the first one that really does it, is that was the mentality. That was the nuclear deterrent was, well, if it happens, we're all going to die. So that's all you're playing for.
Right.
Seeing which missiles, knowing who won before everyone died, going, well, I'm going to be Ash in a second, but we were right. Ours got there first.
Yeah, they're faster.
Well,
I'm faster on the button. I don't know.
And how inconvenient is that? There's going to be such a line to get into heaven.
Oh?
There's only one way in through the gates, right?
Right.
And if they're having to check everybody's social history before they can let them in,
their Twitter profile.
Yeah.
This guy say anything shitty on his Twitter profile.
So
so the Russians are all ahead of us in line. So how does that serve anybody?
This is like the grocery store on the first Monday of every month in the afternoon, when all of the retired people have got their social security check and they've flooded Albertsons and you can't get in there.
Yeah, the line out of Walmart is you can't just go and buy a sandwich at Walmart on a Monday.
This is, or the DMV on the 31st.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh no, they nuked each other. This is going to be worse than the
DMV.
DMV.
Horror of nuclear war is not properly queuing.
Exactly.
Well, and you know that they're going to have to find a translator. I don't, maybe not, but
A translator.
Meanwhile, the British are at the back of the line because they weren't even involved, and they're looking at the entire line in front of them and going, "These idiots!
These idiots!
God damn it! They don't even know how to line up right." Okay, so post-apocalyptic world. What has happened was everybody was irradiated, essentially, the survivors.
Sure.
And and my understanding is that for a while, the children that were birthed all were ghoulish, essentially.
Yes.
They were irradiated as well, until one day a clean baby came about, and it just so happened to be a female.
Yeah.
So therefore, the females of the world proclaimed themselves that they were to be the rulers because they were the cleaner and the non-nuked version of the species.
Yes, the pure human, the first pure human out of the gates was a female. Therefore, they take over.
Right? They've taken over power.
or they could have just been like, listen, you bunch of fucking dicks that were men that just had to whip your penis out and hit the button.
Well, they don't even know about all that, Jackie. That's the thing, is nobody knows about how the whole world got destroyed. The only history they have is that the Merkins and the commies blew each other up. That's it. That's all the info that they have until the first woman was born.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So they can't blame anybody. These women just seize power and take the men who are still icky and dirty and nasty as slaves. And they've got different classes of slaves for these men. They've got the machos, which is like their labor force, I believe.
The machos are the laborers.
The cedars, which are their breeding force.
Yep.
The toys, which are like pets, basically eunuchs. There's a clergy. I think he's sort of a clergy guy. Lels.
He's the head of the toys.
He's the head of the toy. So if you're a toy, you're also kind of your like the religious leader, sort of, or like a.
No, he's a glorified daycarist.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Like he's like, oh, I got to drop my kid off at the kennel.
But he knows about the prophecy, and he has all this information as well.
Because they aren't threatening at all.
Mm-hmm.
They basically get to sort of share knowledge. He's like Peter Goodboy in Battlefield Earth, say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Or he might be more similarly in modern, more mainstream, not shitty movies, Varys in Game of Thrones, who is also a eunuch and has all the information because everybody thinks he's safe to tell.
Well, maybe I was talking about the book Battlefield Earth, and you could counter and say, no, you're not, because you can't read it because there's 300 pages of intergalactic finance stuffed into the middle of a 700-page book.
Right, so it's just Jupiter ascending. Okay, I got it.
I want to know, I'm going to burn my question.
Okay.
Who the hell decided that, oh, well, you know what, we need some pets?
The women.
Yeah, but really? A stinky child?
One of them was cute.
Yeah.
It seems like all the
who
toys are really slight of frame and short in stature.
Who decided to enslave 50% of the population? And your quibble is that they also have pets? That's
Human pets.
They have human slaves.
That's the best gig on the pets. Well, the Cedar seems like it's not so bad.
Well, we don't know that much about the Cedars, but they also have a system of government where there's individual factions throughout the U.S. of these women hordes.
Yeah.
They're not clans or anything. I don't think they address them as clans. They're just like enclaves.
They called them something, and I kept trying to pay attention to what it was, and I couldn't get my brain around. Like, they said the word, and you're like, what did they just call it?
Yeah.
But they're basically clans.
Right. They're hordes of groups of women, led by their head one, individual head ones. They're like city states, essentially.
Sure.
Their tiaras are the queens, but not queens. What would be the head of a city state be?
A king or a queen.
Really?
Well, depending on what sort of government they have. These are definitely queens.
Let's say Greece.
Which part?
Like Athens. What would you call the ruler of Athens?
Didn't they have a republic in Athens?
Right, that's a city-state.
Yeah, but in Sparta, they had 3 families, and they would decide which one was the most manly of the three heads, and that was the king.
Let pull it out. Let's get this done. Pull him out. Oh, it's King Leonidas.
Yep. King Leonidas is down to his knees.
Right. That's why he stands out in front of his window in 300 buck naked, because he's like, dude, seriously, this is why I'm king.
I've got a giant wiener.
It's the dumbest scene in that whole movie.
That's
Gerard
how I would
Butler's
select
ass.
a leader.
Right. Gerard Butler's ass. Yeah.
No, the wiener.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Or just be like Gerard Butler. Now we fall in line in Frisco, the Frisco womenhood.
Which is weird because at one point, some of the geography is a little questionable here because the one clan rides in from Kansas.
The Kansas.
That's a long ride.
Clan Kansas.
And it seems like the Plugots are in Denver.
Right. That's the Plugots is what they call the slaves. The men of the world are Plugots.
Men are Plugots, but you can segregate them into whether they're machos, toys,
Individual classes. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have a word for man. It's Plugots.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they do have a word for woman, even though the Plugots call them Frau.
Yeah. Is it Frau or Frau?
Frau with an A.
I thought it was like Frau as in like
Frau
German.
Farbissina?
Yeah. German
I think
lady.
it's Fral, Frau.
Okay. Frau. I think that pretty much sums most of the things up as far as the
Mostly.
world, the universe that they live in.
It's a lot of dirt.
Mostly.
A lot of garbage.
It's not. Yeah, but see, you're hang up with, and this is, I think I counted out while we were watching this. This is our 5th post-apocalyptic movie, which seems like a lot because some of them really like, oh yeah, I guess it is a post-apocalyptic movie.
Sure.
But your beef with them always is that everybody's dirty. And I just don't see how you think that everybody would be like dressed in Tommy Hilfiger after being exploded.
Well, first off, they would be dead if they were wearing Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh, because it's already irradiated.
Only the fashionably unaware wear Hilfiger.
Yeah.
I wear
it's like-
EFLA shirts.
Because it's made by children, probably in sweatshops. There's like lead inside Tommy Hilfiger shirts.
Because the
So it's
sweatshop kids actually have been eating lead and it comes out of their fingers. Like, wait, do we have any biscuits? Nope, more lead. Just eat this. It'll
I'd
kill
like
you instantaneous.
More porridge, please, sir. Nope, you just get to eat paint.
Yep. Sure, we've still got another 60,000 gallons of Sherwin-Williams from the 70s.
I can't
that we
sell it,
can't
but you
get
can
rid
eat
of.
it, kid.
Yeah, your liver's going to filter out a lot of this lead, and then you'll die, and it'll just get back into the river anyway.
You know, on the whole, blue isn't bad.
Yeah.
Okay. What the fuck were we talking about?
How Jackie hates dirty people.
Yeah, you hate dirty people.
I do.
Okay, all right. I don't think that this is that dirty. They're mostly just barbarian hordes living in the desert, and because that's where you can shoot movies cheaply is the desert. So, but
Sure.
they don't have like shit all over them, and like they've got structures and
The men are gross.
that's not by their own volition though. They are forced into grossness because again they are slaves, Jackie.
No, the ones that attack them on the road, the blue cops that attack them on the road.
Blue
Blue cops.
Calves?
Blue cops.
The blue cops that attack them on the road. They're freaking filthy and they're gross.
Because their story goes back a lot deeper than what you're just seeing them as. They have been chased by the women to get them as slaves
Sure.
into filth. They have no choice because again, Jackie, slavery. I mean, like these people don't have control over their lives. Like the least important thing while you're being chased to go to a slave camp, a labor camp, is how clean your armpits are.
That and I think a lot of the sort of feral Plugots are escaped machos anyway.
Right, that's what I think as well.
Yeah.
Now the Cedars. I saved these guys last because we don't know too much about them. They are the one fairly conventional thing in these post-apocalyptic ladies rule the world movies is that men are used for sex.
Yeah.
Now, the weird thing is that normally in that, it's from the male gaze being told, as in like, wouldn't that be sweet? But these Cedars aren't there for pleasure. When they are there to do the job, they are there to do a job.
Yes.
It's only to impregnate a woman. The women are fully clothed. There's some sort of ceremony per se. It's an event. When you're seated, you don't get to enjoy the experience on either side, it seems. You're just there to produce female offspring.
Yep.
And the men get chucked in the woods, and Sinterklaas has to go find them, right?
Yeah.
Jackie, does that seem kind of familiar to you upon recent television viewing in any way?
Oh, like The Handmaid's Tale?
It's so much The Handmaid's Tale.
Huh.
The fuck? But from the opposite, like if you swap the genders perfectly, it's the exact same. The women are in power. They've created this own society, and that because the men are inferior. And I'm not going into any of this alt-right bullshit where they're taking our masculinity. No, it's the exact same thing. It doesn't matter who is underneath of equality. The genders should be equal, and that's what this film is saying in that. And that they've created this system of propagation that is not, they are not allowed to enjoy. It is, we lose focus on the breeding itself if we enjoy the act.
And there's also a little bit too that they choose not based on the attractiveness of the male versus how a male would do it.
Right.
That they're choosing for intelligence and sort of rebellious nature. That they want to breed the thinkers into the women.
Oh, well, where are you getting that information?
At the very beginning, when they choose Chuck Wagner's character, what's his name again?
Corvus.
Corvus is chosen because she sort of looks in his eyes and sees that there's something going on there. And then he doesn't want anything to do with him. And she's like, oh, he's got spirit. This one's a cedar.
Well, that's Vina, and she's a different breed of cat. But how I see that scene take place is they pull his pants down and check his wiener out, and they're like, yep, that'll do.
Oh, before she does that, before she even gives the check, though, she sort of gave him a personality check.
Right, but that's just Vina. Okay. She's different because she sees something in him also later in the film, whereas the other...
It's not Vina, it's her mom.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So, but either way, that's who's doing the picking, and that's how she's picking him.
Well, that's how she is. I see the other women seeing them as just...
Wieners
or physical specimens.
Because that wouldn't make any sense.
See, I think that maybe because her mom saw him differently, that Vina also sees him differently, because later in the movie where you're talking about, she sees that this particular Plugot is different than any other Plugot she's ever experienced before. There's something about him.
He's a thinker.
Right. So she likes that, but her sister, Lakella, does not. She's like, fuck him. He's just an escaping slave.
Well, she just can't see it because she's so sexist that she's like, Plugots can't think, stupid.
Right.
They can't think.
Right. It's man, what an interesting B-movie universe that this takes place in.
I don't usually like narration in film either. Mm-hmm. And this thing sort of needs it. And it does a good job with it, but it's constantly sort of, the narration is just sort of world building on top of the images that it's putting in front of you.
Right. Anything else about this before we...
Oh, and they're waiting for the Presidente.
Yeah, there's the prophecy.
President.
The president.
Yes.
Is going to come and lead them into the new future.
Not the president, as in they know what the president was. It's just some prophecy about the preceding, which is like the savior of mankind will come.
That's because of the time before 900 years separated from the world nukes. The only thing that made it out is this idea of this word that they can't say right. That's basically their version of Jesus. Right.
Or at the bare minimum that we could make synonymous with it, a leader.
Sure.
So at the beginning, Corvus and his brother Gruss are children, and sort of.
They're not
teenagers.
Brothers. They're just two
I thought they were brothers.
No.
In fact, in the beginning, in the narration, Gruss is the narrator, Pete from Delta Force. Or maybe he's Ryan Gosling. And Ryan Gosling is a mandroid who doesn't age. Haven't decided that yet. He's the narrator and the storyteller of the film, and he hooks up with Corvus, and he says, like, I wasn't really thinking about anything other than getting out of here the quickest way I can, and so he just hops on Corvus's horse during the escape. And
there's a slave riot when they bring him into camp.
Yeah, Corvus rebels by throwing a lady into some fire and causing a big ruckus, and then him and Gruss make off on a horse and become super besties.
Yeah, they ride to a sacred land so that they can escape because they're on their own, and the women are such a military force that if they hadn't gone to the sacred land, they would have.
It's not the sacred land. They put skulls on branches, which means that's the contaminated area. Before, that's
okay.
where the radiation line started. Before, and we don't know how much time's passed since that's been irradiated, but that's how scared they are.
And maybe
of it.
they don't even know if it's radiated anymore. It's not like they got Geiger counters.
Exactly. They just see the skulls and know if I go in there, I'm going to die.
Sally, drink this water and see if your guts fall out of your butt.
Exactly.
No, I'm not doing that.
Whereas apparently the radiation has sort of subsided and the Plugots can live in there.
Hang out there. Yeah, Corvus and Gruss spend some time on their own in there, their youth, basically. And Corvus finds a book in this suitcase, essentially, that teaches him the word man.
It's a learning to read book.
It's an ABC book, yeah.
And he learns horse.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. So he now, the formulation of his own revolution is forming within him. He realizes he is not a Plugot, a slave with a penis, or a penis slave, however, whatever. All penises have slave or whatever. He is more than that. He is a man. He is flesh and blood and heart and soul and love and hate and everything that makes up a person. So,
yes.
But years later, they join up with a bunch of other Plugots, either, never been captured or former slaves at Camp Reagan.
Yeah, it seems like they do. There's a bunch of them that have never been captured, and how they sort of separate that visually is if you're wearing sort of a dingy tank top, you're a wild man.
Oh, okay.
You've got long hair and a beard, you're a former macho.
Got it.
And then if you're sort of small and have no facial hair and can't talk, you're a toy.
Right.
And none of the Cedars really get away other than Corvus to this point.
Right. I think the Camp Reagan thing was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was Camp Reagan.
Just giving you a heads up.
Though I never found out what a Reagan was.
Right.
That's what Gruss's character says.
These the former machos ambush a bunch of the Frowls as they're riding. They've gone and collected food, I guess, is what's going on, and they're riding back to camp.
Yeah, they're going from the farm to the table.
Boo!
That's terrible.
That stinks.
But that's what's happening.
Right.
Anyway, that's how hungry these escaped macho Plugots are, is that they're figuring it doesn't matter. I'm so hungry that if we lose half of us, the other half are going to get a biscuit.
Right. Well, they're wild men, essentially, or nomads, as it were. They don't have a home base. They're not part of Camp Reagan. They haven't linked up with anybody.
These are feral humans.
So they have no access to food except for the ones that they can attack. They're wolves, essentially.
Coyotes better because wolves would be more effective.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take some heavy losses here.
That's how hungry they are, is that they don't care. It's like, I'm either going to die or I'm going to get a biscuit, but either way I won't be hungry anymore.
Right. They get their ass kicked, but they do manage to stab the Tierra.
Yeah. She was sort of not paying attention.
Right.
I think that's maybe where you're at when you're done being Tiara, as you get stabbed by a Plugot because you just can't be bothered to pay attention anymore.
Why am I over here by myself?
Yeah.
Where'd everybody go? We're over here.
We get introduced to some pretty sweet weapons. Chains from a swing set. We've got like 2-finger claw gauntlets.
Yeah, right.
A whip.
Right.
Knives that make no sense.
And death frisbees, don't forget about those.
Death frisbees, which are just saw blades, I think. I think there's clubs, spiky clubs too. So.
Oh, and the little miniature bow and arrow.
Oh, of course.
Pistol crossbows. Yeah, those things are a big deal. You see the pistol crossbow and you're like, that will fire 8 feet.
Or like when you shoot a rubber band, something out of a rubber band, and it hits itself and it flings up into your face. Like, those aren't going to work.
No,
those are death machines for the operator.
Exactly.
So the Tierra's down. She's been stabbed. And I guess the line of progression goes to the daughters. The first one being Vina, Laura Landon, who is quite reluctant on wanting to be it, but she's like, I don't want to be it, and the queen's like, no, you have to be it, even though her sister Lakella is like, dude, check me out.
She's reaching for it.
Right, she wants that throne.
And I was reaching for her boob that was falling out of her shirt.
Right.
She was definitely the prettiest one in this movie.
She's got that, like, bitchy hot look. Like,
Yeah.
she's hot, but, like, man, that lady looks like a bitch, but she's really hot, but
Yeah.
bitchy hot.
She would take off her high heel and fucking stab you.
Yeah, yeah.
She's one of those girls you can't go out with, but you kind of want to bang her so much that you just put on a hate jack.
Uh-huh. And then orders, like, a $15 Martina, like, Martina
Navratilova. Greatest tennis player ever.
Man, her career went downhill at $15. $15 martini, drinks that, and then doesn't even say goodbye, just leaves.
Yeah.
That's the end of the date?
That's the end of the day.
Huh.
So now I have to go home and throw one down, gritting my teeth, like, "Arr, I hate you, but I wanted to have sex with you, so I'm going to jack off now. Rah."
I thought that there was some stipulation in this line of progression that there was something to do with fighting the greatest character of all time, Arg the Awful, which Arg, before we introduce Arg, Arg is essentially a super mutant. He got so irradiated that he turned into Sasquatch.
Yeah. Yeah, the evolution wasn't kind to him.
Yeah.
We don't know how old he is. We don't know anything. The first few times I saw this, actually for years I accused the movie of just having that costume and sticking it in.
Mm-hmm.
But as we learned later, it was actually made for it. So instead of having the costume, what they had was, well, we got a creature person down there, so add that in.
Right.
So we get Arg, and he's like a Sasquatch who's with a skullet. He's like a biker Sasquatch.
Yeah, biker Sasquatch. Nice. I like it.
Yeah, that is all inclusive.
At the beginning, and he even goes through his own progression. At the beginning of the movie, his name is Arg the Awful, but I think it's something else at the end. So what's this thing with them and Arg? They've captured Arg. Does one of them have to fight him?
So you have to fight Arg before you can become. It's like your end of boot camp is fighting Arg
To become a
soldier.
Oh, okay. I thought the Queen or the Tiara had to do something with them.
Because the person that's fighting Arg, and it says this is the last of her trials to become one of the warriors.
Uh-huh.
And she is fighting Arg. And Arg throws her out of his own cage.
He chucks her right on out there.
like a paper airplane. You're like, whoa!
Oh, it's a great bad dummy that he chucks too.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, you're watching a guy in the strangest ape suit you've ever seen throw a dummy that's made of pillows, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Wait, they've got a Sasquatch? That's amazing.
That's Sasquatch. And he's got a skullet.
Yeah. That's the fun thing is in any other like irradiated beast movie I've ever seen, none of them are covered in hair. They're all green and slimy and Toxic Avenger-y, and Arg is just Sasquatch with a skullet.
With a skullet and some really big chiclet teeth that are very crooked.
And he's got a whatever that's called where you're Alexander the Great. You've got the is your middle name.
Uh-huh.
He has got a reputation. Like everybody knows who Arg is, and the women have finally captured Arg the Awful. Like he's got this giant backstory where he lived a cave and would come down and eat the sheep every now and then.
Sure.
And we've got to get Arg this weekend, and they form a posse and everybody grabs pitchforks and nobody can take down Arg, but finally the women are have had enough with Arg the Awful.
That they rope him and put him in a cage and they still can't beat him up.
Right. And apparently he's been there long enough where they've got a system now where everybody has to fight him.
Yeah, and he's accidentally killed a few of them.
Accidentally. Whoops, I killed that person I intended to.
No, I don't think he wants to kill him. I think he wants to do what he does with this, because one of the things, having seen this so many times, that I realize about Arg now is that he's just a really happy guy. He's got a really positive attitude all the time, because after he throws her out, he's like, haha, I beat her. And then he just starts like juggling these skulls and having a good time. And you're like, man, Arg's a pretty positive dude. I like it.
He doesn't actually, it's the skulls aren't like an ear necklace. It's just like he thinks they're balls.
Yeah, he's just having fun.
They're not trophies for him.
And he doesn't get to keep a lot, so No,
Those are just toys.
He just hugged the one too hard.
Named him George.
Yeah, exactly. And then like there was another one that he was gonna chuck out, but he kind of missed, and she just went head first into one of the logs, and like, oh, sorry about that one.
Arg make mess.
Yep.
I want to know who's cleaning out his cage.
Oh man. Well, I would assume one of the machos, probably.
Because you know that there's going to be some massive poops in
But
there.
then you got to have an Arg wrangler, or maybe the machos and Arg are like besties. Like Arg can't wait for the machos to come in so he can play chuck a macho around.
Well, no, he probably just juggles the skulls, and the machos like it's sort of this thing where he gets his cage cleaned. But then the macho that's doing the cleaning, it's like Lawrence Welk to him. He's like, this is the greatest entertainment I've ever seen. This Arg guy's really nice. And every once in a while he throws one of us too far and we die.
He does smell awful, though.
He does smell awful.
All right, so back to Vina. The previous Tierra, her mom, gives her a map. She's like, you must be the Tierra, and also there's a map in my room. I want you to check it out and follow it and deal with that at some point. Corvus and Gruss have gone to the ambush site, and they're scavenging food, whatever's remnants of this food battle that took place. Wherein they find one of the toys, this Amy dude.
Yeah, this guy named Amy. And then Amy is
How do they even know what his name is?
It was written on his neck.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that part.
Amy's surprised by them, and he likes them because they can read. He didn't think men can read. Yeah, I've seen this shit so many times, like it's starting to make sense to me.
Again, the toys are some sort of caretakers of knowledge.
Yes.
They can't tell anybody about it because their tongues have been cut out, their tongues have been cut out, and their penises have been chopped off, but they do know stuff.
Yeah, only some of them get their tongues cut off.
Oh, okay. But all of them get their dingers.
Yes.
Okay. Huh. So.
And then, Amy is immediately this sort of endearing character that everybody likes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm almost kind of thinking that maybe his name really isn't Amy. That is who owns him.
Shoulder, shoulder, face, face. Amy. Oh.
Yeah, so
no, I don't
it's
think
like
so,
a dog tag. If found, please return to Amy.
Maybe, but none of the people have conventional names. They've all got these really barbaric warrior queen movie names. Corvus and Kalala and Gruss and Vina. None of them are named Phil.
Yeah, he's just it's like a boy named Sue. He's a dude named Amy.
Yeah, I think his name is Amy. Like but that's an interesting theory. It would have been interesting if they'd gone with that. If on the side of his neck he had some elaborate warrior queen name, that would have been interesting. But I think Amy's just too conventional.
Maybe they give him a tattoo of the owner's face. It looks like everybody's Hendrix tattoo that they get. Right?
Right.
You see my Hendrix tattoo? I was like, that's Hendrix? What the fuck?
I thought that was a basset hound.
Yeah. I thought it was this frisbee with some eggs in it.
So the Frowls are getting a visitor from Kansas. Their leader queen is coming over
tiara.
For the new tiara ritual ceremony, the crowning, essentially.
The shit show fucking frat party that they're gonna have.
Yeah, it's a crowning, also / burial, also / super out of control wake. Like they get more out of control than the Pikeys do.
Yeah, this is like a coronation. It's a really bad frat party
with pomp and circumstance.
I mean, it gets lewd. They're fighting each other. They're drinking. At one point, the tiara of Kansas is just standing on the table spitting on people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, how fucking drunk do you have to get? It
seems like
that start doing that.
Well, the Gruss drinks some of that booze later, and he's like, "It's gonna make you feel pretty wagos."
Yeah, he's like, it tastes
cold.
It tastes cold wagos, but it makes you feel hot plastic.
Right. So it's probably just gasoline.
And,
Vodka.
I'm going to just say this now.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the tiara of Kansas.
No.
You're supposed to hate her.
Yeah.
I know, but there's even her look. Her whole look was just like, bitch, please. I would have grabbed her by the back of her freaky ass hair and been like, no, and and then just shoved her head into a bucket of water.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, you're not wearing Gem and the Holograms makeup, butthole.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got very class of Nukem High makeup going on.
Yeah. I really I like how much you are supposed to hate this Tiara of Kansas, and she's just like walking around. She's
strutting.
So committed. She is peacocking like no
absolutely.
actor has ever peacocked. One other thing that's sort of like really great about this movie is that everybody knows what they're doing, and people are fucking committed to their characters.
Absolutely.
And she is committed to being a peacock, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, if you hate her, I think she delivered the goods, Jay.
Yeah, she did it right.
She like sits with her legs open and not just like a little bit open. It's like, I am airing out my crotch open.
Which, again, the movie is making maybe possibly a subtle statement there that it's not the people in power have the strutting and not the people based off their dingers, their genitals. It's who's in power think that they're fucking hot shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's definitely the gym teacher that strolls around in a pair of too short shorts and's like, come on, people! With her stupid whistle, chasing you down.
PE was rough then. Huh?
Yeah, I think that's personal information that has nothing to do with anybody else.
There was a PE. Everybody has the one, right? We had one that it was really strange. They did sex ed. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't have.
Right.
You shouldn't do it in PE. You should do it in science.
Probably.
It makes sense. So in 7th grade, they make us do sex ed and PE. And this woman that hates sex so bad.
That's a good point, Sam, because PE is like, okay, today we're going to teach you how to properly play basketball, and then next week they're like, okay, we're going to teach you how to fuck. What the fuck? Yeah. No, not PE. Yeah. You're right, science.
And like in science, they teach you about like the parts that do the work, and you're like, oh, sex ed, this is going to be like hot stuff, Playboy, and you're like, oh, it's just science. Oh. And then
we
you
have
watch
actual health classes for this shit.
And then you watch the baby come out, and you're like, whoa. That's not a miracle of life. Whoa, I don't like those anymore.
But wait, Mom, that's still the afterbirth.
So hopefully there's no prolapse. They didn't show you that part. We had this lady that she was like angry about it. And it wasn't science of how reproductive system works. It was like, she said she took a baseball bat and a mitt, and she's like, the man's gonna take the bat, they're gonna shove it in your mitt. And she's just like pounding this mitt with a bat, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Whoa!
This is fucking terrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
She's like, who's got that good D? You got that good D.
Yeah. You gotta take it once every 3 years, whether you like it or not. Otherwise, your clam's gonna seize up. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Wild. I'm glad I'm not a child.
Wow, I would have loved to be in your PE class. I probably would have started laughing hysterically.
You probably would have gotten moved to a different class.
Yeah,
and she wasn't even my PE teacher. It was a California school when I was in 7th grade, so it was really big classes. So there was 3 PE teachers for every group, and the dude just like in the middle of her thing, just like turned and walked off. He's like, I can't even interject to this shit.
She's right.
She's like, oh my God.
Californians.
Okay. All right. All right. So the men are wanting to. Corvus has convinced them that they're more, or the revolution is taking place. Essentially, starting the guerrilla level. They're going to invade the camp and free the other machos, the slaves. And they've got slave children there as well. While these women are passed out from their drunken wild time the night before. And for the most part, they do. They go in there pretty stealthily and get the guys, and they struggle a little bit with the machos, but they eventually convince them that you're a man, you're not a macho. Let's go.
Give them some jerky.
Here's some beef jerky. Come on.
That'll do it.
Yep, I would go.
Oh yeah, if I'd never seen beef jerky before and somebody gave me a piece, I'd be like, new leader.
Yep.
Because that they're getting just sloppins.
He called them crap eats. No more crap eats.
Mm-hmm. Well, everything was going hot plastic.
Yep.
Until ARG.
Yeah.
Then it was effing Wagos.
Well, we can't leave him behind. He's a man.
He's
no,
a
they
man.
free Arg, and Arg goes apeshit and starts making a ton of fucking noise.
But he's having a really nice time.
He loves it.
Well, and he gets the device,
The
Air raid siren.
Yeah,
the air raid siren, and he is just like, yeah, woo!
Noisemaker!
And he's totally just keeps playing with it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Waking all of the women up, and now they're on the run. Like, dude, we could have got in and out of here while these ladies were passed out. Now we're fucked. Guys are getting shot in the air by the arrows in the back, and they barely escape out the gate, and they've got a posse to round them up while these guys are running away on foot. So Corvus is like, we're never going to get away. They can see our dust cloud. Let's split up. You go up that way, and I'll tie this tree to some horses and drag it so it makes lots of dust, thus duping them into following my path.
And you know that these women are just going to be, when they catch somebody, there is no mercy. They are hungover.
Ooh,
They
yeah.
didn't get any breakfast. There wasn't even a chance to do a hair of the dog treatment.
Nope.
So they are just, you motherfuckers.
They didn't get to
Yeah.
like have that hangover morning poo either.
No.
One of them can only remember getting spit on by some lady with a perm. She's twice as pissed.
It's black after that. I
Yeah.
got no clue what
And then
happened.
somebody brought out a baseball bat and a mitt, and it was like, oh my god.
So while Vina and Lakella are out trying to chase down the escaping men, the Kansas Tierra is plotting. She's like, hey, this is going to be a great opportunity to take over the whole fucking thing. Let them fuck around with this shit. I'm going to be the boss of both Frisco and Kansas.
Mm-hmm. And I guess there's nothing in between.
I guess not. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe she's planning on, like, being in control of two sides and trapping everybody in between.
Or, you know, like, they're like, so, Lena, you ever been to Pahonix? She's like, yeah, I don't like it there. Me neither. Oh,
What's Bahonix?
Phoenix.
Mm-mm.
Oh, boy.
Mm-mm.
Come on now. Where were you?
How about
That was a slow ball.
You can't fuck with Nevada because it's just spelled like it sounds. Nevada.
Damn you, phonetically spelled areas.
Yeah. Eventually, Vina and Lakella realize that they've been duped by this tree thing, and that's when Vina's like, "There's something more to this man than other men," because they then see him as he's trying to get away, and they both have a shot with their little shitty arrows that are not going to make it that far.
No.
But she can't. Vina can't take the shot. She starts questioning things.
She sees it and she's like, that's Chuck Wagner from Auto Man.
Yeah,
Sploosh.
God, that show was fate.
I would totally, if I was her, I'd be like, let's just save him for a seater. I wonder if the Tierra has her own private seater.
Oh,
Like, she just picks out a handsome man.
because it's not for pleasure, Jackie.
Oh,
that's
well, I
true.
mean, maybe like that thing in. I want to talk about The Handmaid's Tale, but there's a level of corruption where the leaders get to kind of break the rules as well. The regs, as it were. That's
Yeah.
another word that keeps coming up.
The
The
regs.
regs are very important in the society that they've built up, but maybe there is like some backdoor action.
I bet in Kansas there is.
Oh yeah.
But in Frisco, things are pretty tight.
Yeah, no, Vina does not, but that Kansas lady does for sure. So Lakella takes a shot. She hits him in the tummy, and he falls backwards into a giant hole. He's dead, and the movie's over. He's not dead. He got hit with the arrow in the book that he's got.
His fall was broken by a barn inside of the cave.
Right.
There's some hay down there, and then you're like, oh, there's a barn inside a cave, and then he's like, oh yeah, this is the barn from outside of the bomb shelter.
Right.
What?
Yeah, it's not a giant hole. It's a NORAD station.
Yeah.
Like one of those remote stations where it's also a bunker. It's an underground bunker for, spoiler alert, the fucking president.
Yeah. This is Reagan's fallout bedroom.
Right. I think it would be a little bigger, you know? If you're the prez, you're gonna want some company. You can't
Well,
just have a bedroom and
he
a
has
couple pinball machines.
The guy outside watching the door.
Right, who
Didn't make it.
didn't make it.
And then he'd have Nancy, the pinball machine, and I think it was Frogger, which I think that would entertain Reagan.
At the later points in life.
Later stages of his presidency,
Right.
Frogger was enough.
Yeah. Ugh. Didn't he have a nickname for Nancy?
I don't know.
I think it was Mother. I think he was like Mike Pence. I think he called her Mother.
I'm not sure.
Mother, there's no more jelly beans. Yeah, the fucking world got blown up, ding dong.
Yeah.
Because of you. Good
What
job.
Did I just say I'm playing Frogger. No, you're not. You didn't even put a quarter in. You're just watching Frogger.
That's the demo. Oh, high score again.
As a woman, I would not want to be called mother.
Oh, absolutely not. It's disgusting.
It would be like, no.
Like we were watching Boardwalk Empire.
Sure.
And there's this lady that bangs Steve Buscemi in like an apartment, and she calls him daddy all the time. And like, it's back in the flapper times. Hey, where's the page boy at? We got
Yeah, but there's also that big daddy thing.
Tommy guns, and yeah, I mean, but even it's gross.
Oh.
I like it's grody to me.
Oh yeah, it's
like
gross.
I don't know if it's just because in today's modern society we don't talk like that, but even then, like, I'm not your fucking daddy.
Yeah, no.
Weirdo. I don't
can
want to
say
be your daddy.
Anything to me during sex except that.
You can punch me in the face and
Yeah.
call me an asshole and fuck harder.
That's fine.
Don't call me daddy.
Call me daddy and we're done.
Yeah.
That's yucky.
Yeah, that's an instant.
You can scream, I hate the fill in the blanks, and I'll be like, well, I'll still finish this off before we break up, but daddy, it's all over right then.
Even if it wasn't sex related, if it was like, oh, hey, honey, I know you had a bad day today at work, so I've poured you a nice glass of the Glenlivet and have made lasagna for dinner, daddy. Get the fuck out. You have taken my shitty day and made it much fucking worse. I'm not your goddamn daddy. Leave the lasagna and the Glenlivet, though.
Yes. In fact, just...
And I mean, it would be totally different if you were like, go ask daddy, and
Go
you were
ask
talking
the child.
to a kid or something,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But it's so gross.
Yeah,
It would be like, hey, sis, no, don't call me sis.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just very gross.
Anyways, Corvus opens up one of the lockers and he finds a fucking laser assault rifle. I guess we
like,
have those.
What? Lasers? That's as unexpected as the Sasquatch.
Laser assault rifles.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
It's got a manual attached to it, so being an educated man, he's able to figure it out pretty
Right.
quick.
Yeah, he learns how to work it. And that's what blows him into the bunker. He shoots his way test firing it into President Reagan's bunker. And he's like in awe. He's like, dude, this place is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They've got pinball. They've got Frogger. They've got this window that opens up and is like, America rules.
It's a light up painting of New York, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be like, you wouldn't ever want to tell anybody about this place.
No, this is the
This is your clubhouse.
shag pad,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
which
right.
I don't think he does, and he does use it for a shag pad, so I think he has the right idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
true.
I wouldn't be telling any of those other buttholes. And there's probably a shower in there.
Oh, yeah, there would be a shower. Totally.
So that's probably how he gets so clean
Mm-hmm.
before he goes to go meet up with
His boys. He finds a message from the NORAD guy that is directed to the president.
Yes.
It's not intended for him. It's an old recording, but he is the only one in the room. And since he doesn't know how TVs work, he thinks that guy is calling him the president.
Yeah.
He's like, what? Okay, cool. So he hatches this plan to load up with all the good shit in there. There's like also like a hazmat outfit that
Yeah.
looks like he's from space, all Back to the Future.
Uh-huh. This is boombox with
Oh, the boombox. Yeah.
sweet jam in it.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And he goes out dressed up like this, finds Lell. Is that his name?
Lells.
Lell's the leader of the toys,
Yeah.
or the head toy. And Lells is like instantly, the president.
Yeah.
The prophecy is here.
Well, you can't see what he sees and not think that God has returned to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at how sparkly his outfit is.
It's a shiny man with butt rock.
Right.
Yeah.
The Aztecs drew it the same way.
That is true.
This is the point where when I had found this movie in a video rental place, I didn't have a cover, didn't have anything. It just said America 3000 on the side. And I was like, okay,
Why not?
I'll give this a shot.
Mhm.
And I made people come over. I watched it 3 times the first day I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
And I made people come over and watch it. And the point where they all turned and looked at me like, what the fuck are you making me watch? Is when it cuts from the bomb shelter to him riding the horse in the hazmat suit with the boombox. And every one of them turned to me and I said, yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we're watching right now.
Well, and he looks like he's about ready to fall off.
Oh, it's hard to manage because he's bringing a mule behind him. He's got a boombox, and he's wearing a hazmat suit that you probably can't see shit out of.
Right. And a bunch of
And he's on a
saddlebags
horse.
and shit behind him,
Yeah,
too.
so he's got a lot to manage. And I did find out a fun fact.
Okay.
It got up to 130 degrees when they were shooting this movie.
Oh, that's miserable.
So how he didn't just fall off the horse and die is amazing.
I think the starring Michael Jordan, the sequel to Space Jam, A New
And
Hope,
Star Wars.
Yeah, A New Hope crowd. They only had to deal with 120 in Tunisia.
No, I thought it was the opposite. It was they went in the winter. Lucas thinking it'll be better to shoot in the winter, and it was like 28 degrees or something.
Oh,
like
really?
that.
I thought they all got dysentery from the water. Either way, yeah. So he tells Lels that he's going to free all men, and which later we find out that includes all women as well. But he's like, you can't tell them that anybody that the president is here.
Yeah.
Got to keep quiet on this. But just you're my guy. You're my inside man now.
Uh-huh.
Vina has followed the treasure map to a cave. And inside the cave, she has brought out thunder rocks, which are
Coconuts with a string.
Yes.
that explode.
They're bombs.
They're bombs.
There's gunpowder secrets in the cave.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Does that get flushed out?
Not really.
Okay.
It just the map go here if you ever run into problems. She
Mm-hmm.
goes there, and the secret to dynamite or something's there. Gunpowder.
Right. So she makes thunder rocks inside of it, I guess, because she's
Yeah.
an engineer as well. And brings them back to the camp. She's like, check out what we got. Now we can fucking take these dudes down finally.
However, meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
Corvus has made it back to the other camp
Right.
with fucking grenades.
With actual fucking grenades.
and laser guns.
Military manufactured grenades.
It seems like they only have one laser gun.
2.
Yeah, they got a few.
There was 2 in the
Yeah.
kid. You see him with one, and you see Gruss with one. So
Right.
there's at least
That's
the
right.
2.
Okay.
So he's like, hey guys, it's me. I'm back. I brought some stuff. They think I'm the president.
Yeah.
And maybe I am. I don't know. But I brought some weps from the Merkins.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, he's also not only brought weps, but he's brought some sweet stuff. And Arg only cares about the air freshener.
Yep.
This is the transition from Arg the Awful to Arg the Awesome. Because he no longer is going to be stinky because he sprays the shit out of his face with air freshener and his ass.
Yep. Troubled spots.
And he loves it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fun to him. Like, this thing is spraying. I'm a dumb animal. He's like, oh my God, I smell amazing now.
That's what's happening.
I'm going to be able to make so many friends.
Because he doesn't spray like in his butt, like, whoa. He sprays on his butt like perfume.
Yep.
He's now delicious. Arg the charming.
Yeah.
Arg the John Ham.
Exactly. Studious. Polite.
A man's Arg, as
Yeah.
it were. Men want to be Arg and women want to be with Arg.
No. No.
Hey, you don't know.
He's just kind of like a hairy Hulk Hogan.
Yeah?
Hogan got the chicks.
It's true.
Oh God, there's somebody for everyone. Let's just leave it at that.
Right, true. Okay. So Corvus hatches this plan for a peace negotiation or war with the Frowls. It's either this or we're going to wipe you out.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. We're overpowered now, but we prefer peace. I'm the president. Let's go with the hanky panky.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
They kidnap her best friend to
Not
do
yet,
this.
not yet,
So
yeah.
he's just coming up with this plan.
yeah. Because they immediately get interrupted by one of their men, Trump, getting exploded by a grenade.
Yeah, Trump blows himself up.
Before we were all like, oh, one of these guys are totally going to blow themselves up because they don't know how grenades work. And then
Yeah.
we're told it's Trump.
They were playing catch with it.
That can't be a coincidence.
No, he was a
dickhead.
he had imposed himself as a celebrity by this point.
Right, but what's the joke? Just
I
that
don't-
guy sucks and he
He's
blows
so
himself up?
stupid he
Yay.
would blow himself up.
Yeah.
I think that if there was anybody that Glenn and Globus had to bump into in New York frequently that they hated,
Oh, absolutely.
it was that guy. And they're
Right.
like, by the way, go ahead and throw that dickhead under the bus while you're at it.
Yeah, it's just a very strange...
And they don't beat around the bush with it. They say it 3 times, so they're like, Trump blew himself up because he's stupid.
Right. I can't make this shit up.
No,
It's just so weird.
in the 80s.
I know. Well, we already talked about Gremlins 2, where Donald Trump is the villain of the
Yeah.
film. But like when we watched America 3000 when I watched it for the first time about 5 years ago, it didn't mean anything to me. But now it's like, dude, that's calling him out.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
But there was a total propaganda comic that he found too that teaches you how to use grenades. So at that point, Gruss is like, watch this shit, people. He is the president.
Yeah.
Hucks a couple grenades by pulling the pin with his teeth because that's the cool way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he's the president.
President. He's not the president. He's the president. The Frowls are busy with their seating ritual, and as we kind of discussed the logistics of all that, we won't go into it again, but this particular Frowl named Linka,
I think so.
she's not real eager to be in there, because again, it's not a pleasurable experience. She's like, oh, I don't know about this, but I'm going to do it because it's my job, it's my duty, it's my sacred duty to propagate and have a warrior queen. Please don't be a boy. Please don't be a boy. Please don't be a boy. They nab her. They bust in, explode the place.
She's in the middle of it. And there's a point where she's like, this isn't so bad.
Right.
They're like, oh, it's going to be awful. And we're like, wait a second. Okay.
And,
all right.
And, but they nab her and also free the cedar who...
He takes off his
I
mask
thought there was going to be a reveal there.
and he's got these incredibly green eyes.
And
He's supposed to be a very pretty man.
Yeah,
mascara.
so that way we can recognize him later.
Oh, okay. Okay, it was just a recognition thing. It wasn't that he was wearing makeup and maybe a little...
No.
Yeah, I don't know why he has makeup on because he has to wear the mask.
Maybe a little dancing piratey.
Dancing like the Pirates of Penzance.
Exactly. Maybe he doesn't even want to be there.
He does.
Because he's a gender traitor?
Nope, he's not.
Hmm.
He loves her later.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I guess
why
that's true.
that's probably why they did his eyes up like that, so that it would be like, oh yeah, the guy with the green eyes.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
man.
would
Okay.
really
All right.
focus in.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. Okay, so they've got her. At night, at the lady camp, the president arrives to much fanfare.
This is sort of like two things at the same time. It's because of what they have available.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, well, it's 3 things at one time. It's sort of like a redneck 4th of July. It's also a little bit of a 3rd grade stage production and a lot Wizard of Oz.
And a bit of Andre the Giant as Dread Pirate Roberts. And just shock and awe. Right?
Well, he's
No.
more Oz the Great and Powerful than anything, right?
Dread Pirate Roberts.
Dread Pirate Roberts.
He's on fire, Sam.
Yeah.
No, he's
but that's
not.
still Great and Powerful
Right.
Oz, right?
Right. Well, no, he's got the cloak of invincibility on. Of course he's not on fire, but the cloak is on fire.
Yeah, but the spaceman suit isn't.
No, I'm talking about Dread Pirate Roberts.
I know.
Yeah, and I'm saying that's Great and Powerful Oz as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It is. It's all Oz, Sam. That's where it all started. The 18th, or not the 18th, the William Tell Overture is playing loudly. They got fireworks. The president gives his message and then explodes.
Amy's got a flashlight and he's like waving it at the gold suit so it shines. They put some LEDs that have like a cycle inside the head. Like they learned a lot about electronics really fast.
Right.
And they even say so. Like,
right.
We figured out how to do this pretty good.
This is a plot point. Let's not get stuck on.
Yeah, exactly.
So Corvus, as the voice of the president from a loudspeaker, commands Vina to meet with him, or else they will nuke. Everybody will be nuked like the Merkins and commies.
Yeah.
Which nuke means killed. It doesn't actually mean nuke.
Yeah.
Use a nuclear weapon. So Vina's going to go. She's like, okay, fine. They've got my gal pal. I got to help her out. But also, I'm kind of wanting to see where this goes. So you guys chill out. I'm going to meet him alone. I'm sure it's fine. No big deal. And, but the other Tierra is like, oh, yeah, fuck that shit. This is a goddamn trick. Those guys are going to fucking backstab us. All of their promises about the peace process and whatever they put on the table, we've dealt with them before. We know their ways. The Plugats cannot be trusted. So let's fucking go kill them instead.
Well, she starts talking to the sister, too. Like,
right.
This is your chance. If we can get a major victory going here, then people will respect you and you can fight for the throne.
Oh, it's totally the walk in the garden in Game of Thrones. Like this woman is a plotter. She's manipulating everybody so that she can actually be the one in power.
Mm-hmm.
So Vina and the president meet. Vina and Corvus, sort of. He takes her. He frees the cedar lady as promised. He says, if I say it, it will be done. And so she goes home. He's like, you and me must go to a place and you are going to see awesome shit. She's like, cool. So they ride off. Meanwhile, the seeds of war have taken root in the lady camp. They're sharpening their knife blades and cleaning their teeth.
Yeah. Getting the hand crossbows all ready.
Licking their lips and
putting on the hairspray,
shaking their hips.
I think that actually the way that they've probably stumbled upon the formula to Aquanet, and it's actually battle armor. You actually can't shoot an arrow through most of these women's hair. It's just too solid.
Right.
At one point, Bing! Lena is riding on a horse at about 30, and her hair is barely moving.
It's really not even moving at all. Lel sees all this, and he's like, "Oh, I must tell the president. This is betrayal. This is, they're breaking their promise. He needs to know all this." And so he tries to get away, but one of them sees him and shoots him with an arrow, and he crawls off.
No, she throws a knife in his back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Venus and Corvus go to the bunker, and he shows her all the cool stuff, and she's like, "Oh my god, this place is fucking sweet." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you think that's sweet? Check out what's under here." Takes off his mask and he's like, "Boom, look at this handsome face." She's like, yeah, I like that. That's nice.
Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah, and they sort of like, we're not so different. We're not.
We both have lips. We both have eyes. We both have flesh and hearts and souls.
Okay, now what do we do?
There's no machos.
No.
There's no frowls. There's no toys. There is only man. And there's only woman.
Now we bone.
Yeah, and now we bone
on the Reagan's bedroom.
But I like that it's not sexy boning. They don't know what to do. Because they're not doing it for propagation. They have never been told how to enjoy this and to even feel anything about this. So they're like bonking into each other's faces and like not knowing where to put shit. It's like Blue Lagoon stuff.
Yeah. He tries to kiss her hair and it's too hard.
Right.
So he stops.
Ow. It's awkward. It's not sexy at all. But they do bone down. Meanwhile, outside, the Fraus have ridden to the man camp and they're ready to attack. They're coming in full force and the dudes are like, oh shit. So everybody grenades up. The men grab their military grenades and the women grab their thunder rocks. And there's pretty much a grenade war.
It's war. This is the horror of war.
It's out of control.
Everything
shit.
Before has been a light skirmish. they both throw down.
My only note is huge battle, and it's all in caps.
War, all caps, exclamation point is what I wrote down.
This might be the most battle scene that we've ever done in any movie.
No.
Honestly.
They really this is basically the one real set piece that they have.
Right.
Good golly.
So many explosions.
I'm really surprised that somebody didn't get seriously hurt during
Oh,
filming.
Oh, somebody?
Multiple people, actually, especially with the horse falls.
What evidence do you have that nobody did get hurt?
Yeah, we don't have evidence that the horses or the people survived this.
The stunts are bananas. The action is bananas. Sometimes there's really good, strong fighting, and sometimes there's really silly B-movie fighting.
Yeah.
But the whole time you're like,
They incorporate a lot of professional wrestling moves into this movie as well, which adds to the fun.
Some karate.
And
some kung fu here and there.
Just the stunts and trying to do what they were doing to make this scene last so long. They're getting too close to the explosions. Sometimes the horses are getting blown up. The horse falls are hard.
And well, when you have many explosions and that many horses, it's a recipe for disaster.
They have to leave everything in. People are missing. At one point, a guy tries to do a diving tackle,
right?
Misses and lands straight on his face.
Right.
You knew that was not the plan.
No,
but it looks great,
and they just go with it.
They just go with it.
Like it's seriously like that point in The Wrestler where it's the what's that no holds barred match, but it's not no holds barred, where the needles and the cutting and all that shit. And at some point, Mickey Rourke to his wrestling partner is like, "Oh yeah, we'll kind of plan it a little bit, but at this point, let's just start freelancing, right?
Yeah,
we're both gonna get hurt really bad." That's what this scene feels like. Is at some point things got out of hand and they couldn't stop shooting because it was just too much awesome shit.
They had as many cameras as they could get in one place, and then people went bananas for 2 days.
Yeah. It's epic. It is a great battle sequence for a shitty movie. And it's just great anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much fun and so much like, man, this is a mess.
Yeah, and they do like the double, you get like this dude who's like awesome warrior, but then they bring in the lady awesome warrior, and they both get the same scene, basically.
Right.
And we should mention that her name is Karen Shepard.
Okay.
And she's significant because she was the very first woman to hold the Karate Forms championship before Cynthia Rothrock.
Oh.
So she didn't become as big of a deal, but she was actually the first woman to actually hold that title.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty equal battle, really. I mean, like, there's about the same amount of casualties on both sides.
It's rough.
I think it's interesting that the very first person who dies in this war is Kansas's Tierra.
Yeah.
Like, she's the first to go down.
She's like, war, yeah, I love it. And then she just like eats shit. And she's like, I hate war.
She gets ran over by her own people.
Dying. I'm bleeding out of everything, and I just got ran over by a horse. And like, what's her face? The sister doesn't make it either because nope, she's not in the other scenes. She gets body slammed through a table to death.
I am okay with having my own theory that she just goes and fucks off, because there's not, if you know, she's kind of a villain. I mean, you know, she's torn between those two sides.
Yeah,
but if she was to die, I think she would have got a death scene, not body slammed on top of a table after a very long and drawn out fight. I think she's okay. She just doesn't want to have anything to do with men or her village anymore.
So where does she go?
She's exiled. She's Kane in Kung Fu. She walks the earth.
Like, well, Pahonix sucks, but
Pahonix.
At least they don't hang out with dudes there.
I'll try Nevada, because I make a stupid joke about that. So Vina rides back to base. She's like, dude, awesome. I got bone. Things are going really well. I think things are gonna change here.
Yeah.
And she realizes that that's not the case.
Yep.
She finds Lel's.
Yep.
And hears about the betrayal.
Lel's dies in a dignified manner, Sir Ben Kingsley. Spills the beans.
Right. Yeah, you've been duped. The whole peace process has fallen apart.
Meanwhile, Corvus has made it back. He's seen the destruction on the other end, and Ben Kingsley's going to get out-deathed one more time by Amy.
Amy!
Amy! This is the part where you're like, what's his name? You're like, it's Amy. I'm pretty sure his name's Amy. Not that guy.
So he thinks that she's betrayed him and led him away from his men to protect them so that they could invade the man camp and take it over and finally end the men. So he's feeling pretty dejected. But on the same token, she's feeling the same way because her own women just betrayed her. So he rides over. He's going to kill her to her base. And she's like, fine, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. If that's what's going to assuage your revenge for your nuked men, then, hey, I'm right here, buddy.
Take me.
Any way you want.
Any way you want.
Even if it's
wiener
Death Town.
or with a knife. I hope it's the wiener.
But before you
I could
do...
use a stabbing.
But yeah. Before you do, know that we were both tricked.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, well, I got to kill you, lady. But then her women jump out and draw their weapons, and his men ride up and they draw their weapons, and there's this huge standoff with world peace on the line. Everything's at stake right here in this one scene. But he looks at her and he's like, you know what? I want you. So they both give up their weapons and they smooch.
Start making out, heavy petting.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everybody's looking around like, wait a second. That's supposed to be bad, but my nethers are starting to feel good.
If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Yeah. And then the lady that got boned by the dude and the dude that boned her are like, you know what? Let's go back to boning.
Yeah.
Then everybody's following suit. People are pairing up.
But with like touching and feeling and like erogenous zones and stuff. Let's do that. Rather than just laying on top of each other and going, okay, I'm done.
Well, I think there's going to be that a few times before they get to the...
Yeah, they're going to need some practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warm-up rounds. You know, you can't just become a national champion at tennis, on your first go-around, right? So everybody else starts, like, eyeballing each other. They're gonna drop their weapons. They discharge everything and lay them on the ground.
Lay down your
they're
arms.
going to discharge other things later.
Ooh, some other weapons.
Lay down that gun and then lay me down.
World peace.
Everybody...
Has happened.
Okay, but you have to remember the most awkward one is the pair off with Gus, and the lady with the swing set chain.
Right.
Because he's like, no, I don't want to. No, is there anybody else?
She's like,
Any takers?
Hey, boy.
Hey, I see you. I see you. He's like, I saw how many people you killed.
I don't.
This is...
I still have some moral questions.
I guess if it's... You're kind of hot, but I'm really scared of you. And he kind of looks at Corvus and he's like, oh, fuck, okay. Why not?
Hey, if it's for world peace, I'll take one for the team, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Plus, she's good looking. There you go. There's your movie. Wait. But what about Arg, you say?
He found his true love.
He did.
80s metal.
It's rock and roll.
Freeze frame.
Boombox, jump shot, freeze frame.
Yeah.
My favorite freeze frame of all time. Freeze frame credits.
I don't think that they could have ended that any better.
No, that is how you end that movie.
It was awesome.
Because Arg, in a shitty movie, Arg could have just fucked off, right?
Yeah.
Arg's done. We've got our comedy out with him. No, you end on Arg, buddy.
They could have left Arg out of the movie at any... Like, there was 6 chances to abandon Arg, and they never did. They brought him back with an army helmet at one point.
Right.
And then here they are, like, oh, by the way, Arg.
Arg has completed his character arc. He is no longer Arg the Awful. He has gone completely to Arg the Awesome.
Yeah, he's gonna bring hair bands back to America.
Not long hair on the head, just hairy bands.
One township at a time.
Eventually he's going to go around selling his wares. He'll create beads so that he can do little braids in his hair.
Uh-huh.
And then go from town to town and sell his beads.
And instead of like he'll have like a microphone stand, but instead of like handkerchiefs tied to it, he'll have the skulls of people who died by his hand.
These were accidental deaths.
I was having a good time.
It's dancing.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes people die.
Arg. That's your movie, kids. Let's do this questions business. Who wants to go first, Jackson?
Is Arg the only one of his kind?
That's a good question.
It would be interesting if there was a lady Arg.
I don't. Well,
That's a worthy. That's the only way you could make a sequel to this movie is if it was, because this situation has resolved itself as best as there's
world
no
peace.
more.
It's fucking world peace. It's the best that could be resolved in this type of situation. World fucking peace. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good outcome.
I think Kansas still sucks.
Well, no, they don't have their stupid leader anymore.
Yeah, they probably all are that bad.
Vina, well, we'll get to who rules what here. But yeah, I think Arg, America 3001, The Tale of Arg.
That's the only way you could do
Arg's Path.
Yeah, where he goes out, starts looking for his people, creates beads.
It could also end up like the Star Wars Holiday Special, though. Like Arg goes to his camp and like it's gross and you don't want to be there.
TV actor shows up and is like, "Org, you are here." Like, that's not even what it says on the piece of paper. God, I don't have time to do this again.
We got to get back to Kansas.
Yeah. Are you from Kazook? Nobody's from Kazook, dickhead. Would you name a planet Kazook? Are we sure that William Wallace isn't Ryan Gosling?
Oh, man. I think the similarity, it's, man, I don't know.
It's just Gosling with a beard. That's all it is.
It's not as bad as that guy from Death Row Game Show and Ryan Reynolds, though, man.
Oh, yeah.
Who becomes the leader? Who leads the people forward now that they've gotten world peace? Somebody still has to do it.
Yeah.
I believe that it now becomes a king-queen situation.
Okay, so who's in charge?
Nobody's really in charge.
Somebody has to be in charge.
Those two are making the decisions together with their advisors from either side that they're bringing in.
Yeah.
He's probably the queen. I think she's probably going to get final say.
She's making more decisions than him, which makes her in charge.
Yeah.
Yes, because now we've got the pussy trap again.
Oh.
Where it's like, do you want me to put out for you? Or are you going to say that I can have an extra 10 ounces of water this week?
Well, that would imply, again, that she doesn't enjoy it.
Maybe she does.
She does enjoy it. That's the whole point of the movie. That's how world peace gets solved, is like, hey, man, let's...
By hitting that?
Well, no, by like... yeah, by hitting that. Love is better. We both like it. It's equal. And we enjoy it. Sex is not a weapon in this this future... peace world that they live in, Jackie.
Oh, bullshit. It eventually will be, because that's how things play out.
Well, perhaps in the reading book of ABC's, the letter D was democracy, and they start voting and stuff.
So who do they vote for?
Probably Gruss.
Probably Gruss.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If we could put somebody in charge,
Arg.
Oh no, Arg is not going to do a good job.
Arg's in charge of wrecking the party at the end of the night.
Who would be the best leader in this case?
Either one would work fine out of.
I disagree.
Vina and Corvus.
I disagree. Vina is the clear choice for the better leader because she didn't want to be the leader.
That's the key.
And B, Corvus dupes the people into making his leader. He lies to them.
Yeah. So
that he can be the leader. And when it's time to make the world peace decision, she lays herself out on the table as the negotiating, like, dude, this is what I want. I don't want this.
Yeah.
And he still goes to kill her after she goes through all that. He's just stopped by it, like his decision process is delayed by a bunch of women pointing weapons at him. Like, I better think this through a little bit better.
Sure.
She is the better leader.
Okay.
She's got my vote.
Well, she was gonna be the leader anyway, just by if you merge the two clans, theirs was technically the more powerful. So
right.
Yeah. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Duracells? Huh? 900 years.
Yeah.
Was it the Energizer Bunny? I mean, what's
in that boombox?
Batteries. Those are good batteries.
Really good batteries.
Reagan got better batteries than
Maybe
I got.
they're like laser batteries.
Laser batteries?
Where I guess lasers are so easy now that, maybe that's how they're powered.
Lasers are powered by their own laser.
Right.
It's perpetual motion.
No, that doesn't make any sense. It's Duracells.
Yeah.
So when I open up my own Boy I See
Okay. Yeah. Lady Clan. Mhm.
Lady Clan, how do you guys feel about being part of the clan?
I'm not a lady.
Right. So we wouldn't be.
Well, you would be slaves.
Then not good about
Not
it.
good.
But, since we're friends, I'd let you pick what you wanted to do.
I'd not
How
be
about
a slave.
Can I pick not slave?
No.
Oh,
You either got to be a
very
toy,
friendly.
you got to be a
I'm
cedar,
not
or
gonna
you got to
a
be...
toy. That's where you get your wiener cut off.
That's where they cut your balls off
Uh huh.
so that it can't make testosterone.
Wow, so much better.
Here's one factor, or here's one choice that you didn't leave behind on the table is I'm going to revolt and run away, because that's what happens all the time. Every time with slavery, Jackie. It's never acceptable, even in joking. I'm kidding. You can joke about your fantasy slavery because we know that you're a terrible, mean person.
Huh.
Wow.
You would want to... You
I would
have a
try
slave.
to-
It's called your husband.
I would try to refute it, but it's so true that, everybody would see past my lie.
Do the dishes or I'll fucking cut you.
And everybody's like, I guess we're going to Pahonix.
But it sucks. If there had been more laser weapons, would mankind be done?
Would, they've killed all the ladies?
Well, there's only 2 laser weapons that we can focus on. The
Sure.
grenades aren't quite as effective as the men want to be because they don't even know which are like explosive grenades and which are smoke grenades.
Sure.
But if they all had been packing laser weapons, would the women clan have stood a fucking chance?
No.
No.
And then thus no more reproduction, and eventually the men would have died out.
Unless you
Well,
go to Pahonix.
Yeah, they had other clans, right? So they could have switched it around where they're like, okay, now you guys are all sex
These
slaves.
guys have laser weapons.
Yeah. And you're either going to suck my dick and then go make me a steak, or I'm going to shoot you with
That
this laser.
is not what they
Yep.
seem to care about,
No.
Jackie, because they don't even know what their ding-dongs are for, that it feels good. They want to kill everybody at that point in the huge battle scene. It is death time. Not, let's win and then negotiate afterwards. No, everyone dies.
Bloodlust. They become a roving pack of laser dogs.
And if you think that it would have ended there and they would have forgot about anything, no, they're moving on to Pahonix and taking over fucking Pahonix.
And we're going to Iowa!
Howard Dean, shout out. No, that's and that's maybe another statement that this movie makes is more weapons isn't going to help,
No.
guys.
Just love and understanding.
I've got mine that's going to lead us in final recommendations. Name its closest relative, because it is a very unique film. But what's the closest relative that you can pull from all of fiction? It doesn't have to be shitty movies. It doesn't have to be movies in general. Any fiction. What's its closest relative?
We know you're going to say Handmaid's Tale.
I was actually thinking Billy Madison, but whatever.
Billy
Yeah,
Madison.
very similar plot lines.
But it has the hair band.
And it's
Billy past the 3rd grade.
and Arg is basically just Billy Madison. In reality, though, because there's a lot of fucking shit going on here.
Yeah. It borrows from a lot of places.
But I think it contributes to a lot of places
Sure.
as well.
If anyone had seen it besides us and like 6 other people. I guess since Shout put it out recently, I guess last few years, probably more people have seen this, but this thing was under a rock for 20 years, so I don't know how influential it could be.
Well, there's some similarities to modern
Okay.
stuff, but either way, do you have a pick,
Not really.
Jackie?
Avocado Jungle.
Avocado, Amazon women in the avocado jungle of death. Why do you say that?
Because they are a group of women who are leading their own culture, and they're using men for sex.
Right, pleasurable sex.
Right, and they are killing outsiders.
Yeah, I don't know if the women really kill outsiders, though. They just, in America 3000, they capture the men to be slaves, and then they have
killed
other tribes.
those Bluths.
Bluths.
Like Don Bluth.
Yeah, Don Bluth. They
Yeah,
murdered the animator.
when he was trying to get food.
The Pugot. Yes, because he was thieving. They will kill you if you are attacking them. That is true.
Yeah.
But not like they're like, hey, you can't come in here. We actually want people to come in here.
So,
Yeah. But it's fairly. That's also the same kind of plot line as Phoenix and the Warriors of Death, Warriors in the Wasteland, something like that. Phoenix the Warrior, and also to a degree Gwendolyn, because they're an underground,
absolutely
robot, sexy camp too.
But they also have that like they're just really selling diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say, obviously Handmaid's Tale and Fallout 4. Really, the Wasteland. Some of the costumes specifically are very Raider-esque. Arg obviously is a happy-go-lucky super mutant. So definitely, and then like the bunker, the vault, as it were, going into that. I would be willing to bet that the creators of Fallout 4 or any of the Fallouts had seen this movie before. So
interesting.
Yeah. There's another one that it's not like this at all actually, but I just want to mention it because we're never going to do it for the podcast because it's too well done. It's called the Blood of Heroes with Rucker Hauer and Joan Chen.
Yeah, sure.
And it's this really unassuming PA movie where it doesn't do any table setting. It's just like, here's the story, but it does that so well that any expositions needed is just sort of snippet here and there, and you don't need anything else. It's more of a sports movie, but it's set in post-apocalyptic, and you're just like, wow. And you can see people regurgitate Blood of Heroes into a lot of different things. But that one wasn't hiding under a rock like this one. Like Blood of Heroes is sort of well-known in certain circles.
And also, still Game of Thrones. I mean, the plotting that takes place and the betrayal and the just how layered the politics is in America 3000 is very, sorry, Jamie, you're getting your hand cut off type shit.
Well, yeah, and I think that's actually a little bit more like Galan and Globus making sure that they have their political agenda in the film.
But it's well done. It's not overt like most of their political agenda is. There's a lot of subtlety in the politics of this movie.
Sure.
So, which leads us into final recommendations. Jackson, let's go with you first.
I'm going to give it a do.
Yeah?
The storyline was interesting, and it kept moving, and the action sequences were like, oh my God.
Sammy?
This is my favorite bad movie of all time.
I agree. I fucking love this.
I saw it. And we were supposed to guest Sean, and we should mention that we didn't do that, even though, because I'm a liar.
Yeah, you lied.
I lie all the time.
You lied. And there's people at home listening right now.
Where's Sean?
Where the fuck is Sean? Fuck Sam.
Yeah, and one guy's like,
Wait,
who's
who's
Sean? We haven't listened far enough back to Robin Hood, because that was the last time we guested him. But yeah, he and I found this, and it wasn't just me. He loved it so much that he just took it in the shorts for $40 and never gave the tape back and was like, I know I'm not going to find this again because the only way we found it doesn't even have its cover left.
Right.
This is like the only one in the Western states. He was like, fuck this. This is worth $40. I'm keeping it.
Absolutely. No, it's on its own level. And the only thing that I can compare it to as far as well written and well made on a budget is Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Yeah.
That's as close as I can. Wow, this is a really tight, efficient, well done, funny, enjoyable, layered, discussion-worthy film that is a complete surprise because there's a Sasquatch in it and laser weapons, and the other one's got frog people and a seven snake dance.
They both have this X factor where you've got...
And they're both PA films.
Yeah,
it's
strange.
strange.
That's what gives them the X factor, is that all these other PA films just run around in desert with shit.
Right.
They have something to add visually, and it's like, it's a surprise because you're just so used to these PA films not having an X factor, and they're all the same garbage.
And a lot of them don't even make a statement other than that blowing up the world is a bad thing. They don't even really explore why it's a bad thing within their own context.
Absolutely.
But they state that, and that's just what you have to take. And the entire movie's about traveling from California to New York in a fucking space van.
you end up with people driving around in cars throwing rocks at each other and shooting stupid looking guns.
Right.
And then like halfway through, somebody says something that's akin to a fucking PSA
Right.
that was ultimately wrong by the end of it.
Right, absolutely. But this makes even more statements that it wants to make than most good movies make.
Mm-hmm.
Usually good movies will try to focus on one statement and deliver that statement very well. This makes 6 or 7 statements about more weapons does not equal good. This is how peace negotiation can fall apart that quickly. Looking at you, North Korea and Donald Trump.
Don't have sex with it, or do have sex with it. I don't care. It's your choices.
Statements about slavery and what sex is, and love versus peace, and gender.
Trump is an idiot.
Gender equality, and Trump is an idiot. That was a pretty big statement.
Blows himself up with a grenade,
which
in
he
this
very
movie.
well could do for us. But I think the main one is gender equality. It doesn't matter who's on top. It's just there shouldn't be anybody on top, far as that. So yeah, it's just fan-fucking-tastic. And it's really well made too.
That's what the thing. What I said at the beginning, it's like some of those art pieces that they were making, that they were funding with the American films and making in Israel, are really amazing films.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, we can just throw this at the Israeli crew, and this is what you get back. You're like, what the fuck?
But there's no, and that's the weird thing, is you can almost put Hell Comes to Frogtown and like, you should check this out. This is a really, really incredible movie that you've never heard of. This is a stinker somehow. Yeah. There's some weirdness to it that you can't quite put your finger on why it's on Stinker Madness, other than the fact that it's a budget film and nobody's ever heard of it.
And they have professional wrestling moves in it.
Right.
It's haywire. And most people would be like, this is god-awful crap.
I don't think most people would. I think, wow, that was really surprising to me.
I have showed this movie to so many people, and only the bad movie lovers love it, but then they sort of all watch it more than once and end up where we're at, like, man, you got to watch this thing like 5-6 times before you really get everything that's going on.
Well, one of the flaws that potentially your average movie, I'm here for the popcorn and throwing shit around and making dumb jokes, they do speak their language incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And you do not speak their language, and you're interpreting it as you go. And so some of that subtlety in the plot, like, I definitely got more about what this film was saying the second time and the third time upon viewing it, just because I could start to speak the language better. Yeah. So maybe that's, you do need that multiple view of it. But I think anybody, you come because somebody told you to watch it, and then you stay for ARG.
Yeah.
I want to see more ARG.
More ARG.
His name is ARG. Come on. All right, that's your show, kids. Appreciate you listening this week. Email us, talk@stinkermadness.com, facebook.com/stinkermadness, twitter.com/stinkermadness. Subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/stinkermadness. Support your favorite podcasts. Jackie, it's your pick next week. Anything lined up?
No.
God
damn it, no.
All right, great. So on Sunday, we'll pick a film. It's going to be awesome. We enjoyed America 3000 way too much, so we're out of time. We'll have to pick up the story of Gary DeVore next week on whatever film Jackie chooses. So check that out. Enjoy your week and get to the chopper.